Recently, my hours have been reduced, leaving me with less money but with many expenses. I think a lot of people find themselves in that situation at the moment. It scares me and I wake up feeling burdened. What steps do I take to turn this uncomfortable and tormenting situation around? Okay, this is really quite something that I think a lot of people are going through at the moment. So I'll just repeat the question. I used to be in a full-time and quite often overtime employed, which brought in quite a lot of money. Recently, my hours have been reduced, leaving me with less money but with many expenses. It scares me and I wake up feeling burdened. What steps do I take to turn this uncomfortable and tormenting situation around? Okay, I think what you'll find now, and this isn't going to go away, I'm afraid, so you're going to have to start to get comfortable with it, is flexibility. Is to realize that there's not just one route in life, that there are other avenues, and having the flexibility within the psyche to be able to see them. So what's happening now is that where people used to be able to have a route planned out, let's say for the following 20, 30 years of their lives, that is changing. We're developing flexibility within the psyche. We're having to, in terms of having new and different experiences. It's about accelerating our own soul growth. So if you're finding yourself in one of those kind of situations, which is, very similar to this question, which is scary. It's very, very scary for the personality, and very uncomfortable, to wake up and think, oh gosh, I've got all these things going on, and I'm feeling alone, and I'm feeling very burdened by it. What this is what your psyche is asking for, and what everybody's psyche is asking for at the moment, is to be able to think in slightly different circumstances, to think in terms of flexibility, to think in terms of when you wake up and feel burdened. It's a case of saying, right, okay, what is it that I would like to do differently in life? What is it? What are the opportunities that I would like to be included in my life? And now, in modern times, we have a lot of opportunities for flexibility, and we also have a lot of opportunities for different ways of doing things. What we haven't caught up with yet is realizing that they're there. So in answering this particular question, I would say what you're looking at in terms of, certainly the way that this energy is presented, is I used to be in full-time and quite often overtime employed, which brought in quite a lot of money, which is, to interpret, I used to be in full-time and quite often overtime employed in a job that I really didn't like. Recently, my hours have been reduced, leaving me with less money but with many expenses. To interpret that, which is, recently my hours have been reduced, so I can see more clearly, leaving me with less money but with many expenses. Leaving me with less, so I have to now create a change, and so I have to now start to follow what is important to me, what some of my dreams are, and then begin to create them, because I'm being squeezed to the point of which I cannot afford to keep myself in denial. So in denial of what I want in my life and what I haven't had the courage so far to include. That's how I would most certainly pick up that particular energy. It scares me and I wake up feeling burdened. Yes, of course it's going to scare you. The idea of that element of change is going to be uncomfortable because you haven't got certainty. So everything about life at the moment is about being comfortable with uncertainty. That is what stretching your comfort zone is about. It's stepping outside of what you think is comfortable. So you think this previous life, so to speak, was comfortable, but it wasn't. It was actually, for this person, desperately uncomfortable. And what they're being asked to do now is to stretch themselves out so that they can see more clearly as to what their passions are. So, to answer this particular question, I would be looking at ask yourself what's really important to you. What are the things you've put off? What are the things that you haven't done because you've been too scared to embrace it? What are the things where you veered on the side of safety but now actually feels unsafe? And the moment you start to really engage with what it is that it's element of your passion, your internal passion as to what's important to you, and you see that flexibility, you'll soon find either a different job or different ways of adjusting or supplementing aspects of your income so that you can then start to make the adjustments into something that's more enriching and more empowering.